Welcome to Evolution of Self with me, Britannia.
Hello. I've been pondering about this sort of highs and lows of life and how as a society we might be addicted to highs and lows because to have the highs, it's almost like a roller coaster. You can't go up if you didn't start down. And I wonder with our need for striving for happiness, and I've spoken about this a number of times, I'll just touch on it now just in case you haven't listened to those particular episodes. So happiness is an emotion, and emotions are something that comes and goes. They're not static. If you think about your day, you will have experienced numerous different emotions in your day. It won't be just the one. And yet we chase happiness as if when we get there, we will be able to hold it tight. We'll be able to keep it and catch it. It's a bit like trying to chase a bubble in the air. You know, the moment you catch it, it's gone. But it's almost like as a society, we don't realise this yet. We still see happiness as this thing that once we capture it, we can keep it. But it's an emotion, and emotions by their very nature are transient. Emotions, the purpose of emotions is to give us feedback for what works or doesn't work in our environment. And that's constantly changing. You know, even if you were to sit in a room perfectly sort of stimulated and given everything you want, you'd most likely eventually get bored, or you'd feel uncomfortable and you'd need to do some exercise, or you'd want to meet people. You know, our needs, our wants, everything changes all the time. So emotions give us feedback for what is working in that moment, but we can't hold on to them. So, sorry, I just need to recenter oh goodness, my cats have decided to come and play now. They're so delightful. Hello, darling. So I'm talking about the highs and the lows. So in society, if we're constantly chasing happiness and trying to capture it, it's going to be a constant seeking of highs. And as I said before, to get to those highs, you've got to start somewhere below the high. So it's this constant surging up and down and sort of chasing those highs and trying to avoid the lows. And I suppose to me, when I was thinking about this and pondering it, it's a bit like an addict. Whether it's sugar or cigarettes or alcohol or drugs or sex or whatever it is that you're addicted to, it's this constant need to fulfill it. But what would life be like without that? You know, isn't that kind of like where the peace is? When we stop chasing those highs and we stop sort of not valuing our lives, stop rating our lives on whether they are good or bad, whether we're happy or sad. There's a way to step out of that, to almost step back from it. It'll happen. You know, there'll be times when your emotions are more positive and there'll be times when they're negative. But if we don't get so bought into the sensation of those emotions, then there's a calm, there's a tranquility, there's a depth to the experience without kind of being... It's like watching a movie. So sometimes you can watch a movie and it can seem so real that you feel what's going on in that movie. You feel like it's happening to you. But if you remind yourself it's just a movie, then you can step back and suddenly go and look around and think, oh, I'm in my living room. I'm not actually in whatever scene is going on in the movie. And our lives are a little bit like that as well. Everything does seem very real when it's happening. But if you take a moment to step back from it and to remind yourself that this has happened in the past, it's likely to happen in the future, that it's an ongoing experience of life, then you can create a little bit of distance between you and the events that are taking place. And in that space, in that distance, you can experience a bit of peace and a bit of calm and a bit of perspective quite often. And I'm sharing this because, I mean, roller coasters are wonderful and I love them. In fact, I find them incredibly sort of energizing and de-stressing, but I wouldn't want to spend my entire life on one. I would like to be able to enjoy it and then do something else. but we spend our entire lives on this emotional roller coaster. So wouldn't it be nice just to get off from time to time, to give ourselves a little bit of tranquility and peace and space away from the drama? And I suppose I don't really know what I'm trying to achieve with today's episode, other than, I suppose, just create awareness. Because in creating awareness, are you purring, my darling? In creating awareness, it gives you options, it gives you choices. Because when you're not aware of something, you can't help but just be in it. But when you become aware of something, then you have the ability to step back from it. You have the ability to make a choice, to turn a different way, to experience something different, to choose something different. So I suppose that's what I'm trying to achieve for the episode today. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's maybe sparked something in you, made you think a little bit more deeply about things, or maybe even given you some relief. Hopefully, that would be amazing if I could do that for you. Anyway, as usual, there's loads of links in the show notes below. There's links to my website, my social media if you fancy a chat or you've got any questions, and links to my online courses. I think the link on there is a link to a free online course, but I've got other ones as well. And just in case you're interested in what I do, I am a consciousness coach for individuals and teams. Have a stunning week and so much love from me to you. Bye-bye.